All right, Bella, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Just for either of you, scored 31 points in the second quarter, but then outscored 45-29. What was the difference in that second half in particular?
We had a little. We maybe had a few lulls defensively or offensively rather. Maybe the ball got stuck a little bit. Just doing some things differently. And then offensively, law of averages, how we were defending them. They were getting to their spots and able to get to the free throw line. I gotta look at the free throws and the rebounding. I thought we did a pretty good job in the second half, maybe defending the three-point line a little bit better than we did. I think Favorich got a little bit loose, a little more loose than we anticipated, from the three-point line. But, it really was offensively that third quarter. 13 and 16 points is not going to cut it in the second half. And, unfortunately, it was some similarities, the lows that we had in the third quarter in the last game versus LA as well. So it's something we definitely have to fix. The first 4 minutes of the third quarter, the first 4 minutes of the fourth quarter, and then obviously down to some late game execution, where we need to be better at. So we got one more opportunity, and that's how we're looking at it. We win, we in. That's how we feel. And so all our focus now has to be, we ain't going to get this one back. We got to focus on what we need to do to get ready for Tuesday.
Tim, go ahead.
Nneka, just how frustrating is it not to be able to sort of take the drama out of the weekend and know that your playoff spot is taken care of and not be able to take care of it tonight?
You're asking me how, what?
Just the frustration of not being able to wrap up a playoff spot tonight.
I don't really know how to answer that. We did what we could tonight. Obviously, like Sky said, we could have put some more points on the board in the second half, but we still have another opportunity. So I don't have time to be frustrated, really. I gotta rest and get ready for Golden State.
We'll take a question from Zoom. Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, Nneka, you've been on a lot of great teams over your career, 2016 championship Sparks team. This roster has a lot of talent. What do you see as maybe the difference maker? What is kind of the disconnect? Because there has been a lot of, blown leads and losses this season that kind of are unexpected.
I'm sorry, that's another question I don't know how to answer, to be honest. Every team is different, even on championship teams that go back to back. Quite frankly, I don't like talking about teams that win and teams that advance don't talk about it. To be honest, in my experience, they talk about the day to day. They do the day to day. They do the small things, and I think that's in my experience that's what I know. We know that we have a talented team, and we've seen that talent. I don't really know what kind of answer you want me to give you. I know I play on a great team, and I go in every day not expecting that we're going to lose. I compete every day just like Sky, not expecting that we're going to lose, and we play to win every single night. And we try to do our best to show by example that in our play every night.
On the positive side, he obviously started the season coming off the bench, then was starting back to the bench when you guys acquired Slim. What does it do for the team to be able to bring that scoring punch? 12 points tonight, really good free 3-point shooting, obviously in addition to Dom, but just being able to bring her off the bench again.
Yeah, it's nice to have her. She's a player that plays with a lot of energy, an additional ball handler to kind of move, me off the ball, Gab off the ball. Her pace is great. She's great at pushing the pace for us, and she has great chemistry with the starting unit, and the second unit because she runs. So she has great chemistry with both units because she spent so much time as a starter, but she also runs second unit in practice. So it's her chemistry that she has with other players, the energy that she plays with, her pace, and obviously her ability to shoot the basketball.
We'll take another question from Zoom. Christian, go ahead.
Yes, my question's for Nneka and Skylar. Over the last couple of weeks, some of these situations, Nneka has spoken to the mentality of this team and kind of not being where it needs to be ahead of the playoffs. Just kind of wondering, as you two being leaders of this team, what do you think is the disconnect between turning these clutch scenarios into wins versus losses? Going to the playoffs, considering a lot of these teams, you beat, but the under 500 teams have been the most struggle.
I promise you, I swear I'm not even being facetious. If we had these answers to these questions, you know what I'm saying? This game is tough. It's hard to win in this league. It's hard to win in this league. And obviously, yes, we're disappointed with where we are, that we're in this predicament. But Nneka said it in the past, too. It's not going to be a woe is me. Games are still going to be played. We still have to come out and compete. And most importantly, we have to be professional. And, I like professionalism in that last press conference, too. I want to apologize to the room, apologize to Nneka. She always comes out here and handles herself exceptionally, and I handle myself poor. And, I got to be a better leader when it's hard, and it's hard to be a leader. But I owe you that apology in front of everybody in the room. So I just wanted to say that before we left. But, yeah, obviously it's tough. We're pissed. Yeah, that's what you guys want to hear. You want to see it? This is what it is. When you're passionate, we do everything passionately. And that's what it is. We don't want to fucking be in this predicament, but here we are. So we're going to continue to show up and be pros every day, be leaders by example, how we come in and prepare and come out and get ready to compete. And that's all we can do. And if we don't do that, then we don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
All right, final question. We'll go to Roberta.
Yeah, I know it was a tough game, but I have more of a general women's basketball question. There's a very iconic class being introduced to the Hall of Fame: Sylvia Fowles, Maya Moore, and Sue Bird and Nneka. One of your most iconic games was against Maya Moore in the 2016 finals. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like to play against her and what newer fans are missing by not being able to watch her in action?
I really hope nobody is out here watching the WNBA right now without knowing what Maya Moore did. Like, that to me would be an abomination. She's a legend. She's iconic. Definitely everyone's worst nightmare. Everyone's first pick to be on their team. I'm glad that I get to see that she's getting her flowers and obviously getting inducted. That goes without saying. Me and Sky talk a lot about playing in that generation. The 2010s was a serious time for basketball, and I'm very grateful to not only to have played in that generation, but to have been raised by a lot of those players. That's why you see us up here being, like Sky said, passionate about what we do. It's hard to win in this league, but we hate to lose, Mm-hmm. Like, we really don't like to lose. But at the end of the day, games got to get played, and someone's going to win. So I'm grateful that Maya is someone who allowed me to understand that, challenged me in ways that I never thought that I would be challenged, amongst, of course, that cohort of players. You got Sue and Sil up in that class, and it's kind of crazy too, coming to these gyms and like seeing all the players that you played against in the rafters. So I'm just grateful to be here and to continue to uphold the legacy that they all built.
Thank you, Nneka. Thanks, Sky.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Bella, go ahead.
31 points scored in the second quarter, but then outscored 45-29 in the second half. What would you say was the difference in that second half in particular?
Lack of execution, pace, not being assertive. The things that we were doing in the second quarter, we were not doing in the third and fourth.
We'll take a question from Zoom. Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, this is one of your probably most talented rosters, but there just seems to kind of be, I don't know if it's a disconnect or what exactly, but, the record's probably not where it should be. Just kind of what do you make of this season and how it's transpired?
We're without two key pieces. Let's not forget that. Lou and Jordan. And also Nneka, 3 key pieces. We are we haven't played consistently. throughout the entire season, and it shows up in spurts and moments in the game. There are moments where we see who we can be, and whether it's matchups, whatever the case is, there just hasn't been this fortitude that we need through moments and stretches of the game. So, this team hasn't been together long, though talented. We're, relying on, some youth and Dom. E's having an amazing season, and, trying to rely heavily on our starters. So there is some growth that is happening in real time that this group hasn't had together. And we're just taking the lumps and the bruises with it.
Coach, have you had a chance to do any self-scouting while you're watching film? And if so, what are the areas for your improvement that you've noticed?
Self-scouting for who?
For yourself.
What do you, can you explain your question?
My question is, when you're watching film, are you able to watch film and do some self-scouting of yourself, whether it be rotation, plays, personnel? Have you done that? Are you able to do that? And if so, what areas of improvement have you identified?
I'm not sure how to answer this question. Are you talking about evaluating myself as a coach? Is that what you're talking about? It's not just watching film. I evaluate myself every day. In the game, whether it's, whether you're talking about rotations, play calls, all of those things. There's a lot of areas of improvement. I'll just say that.
All right, Charles, go ahead.
Coach, I know pregame you mentioned the length of this Liberty team. I know they had 10 blocks in this one. What did you see about how that came into play?
They switched. Fibich is 6'4", perimeter player. They pressure the basketball, a lot of length and congestion. I thought we executed decently against their zone. But when we're in a half-court situation with that length, it becomes difficult with our size. We don't match up size to size with them from every position.
You know as well as anybody how good of an offensive player Stewie is. What makes her as effective as she is at the defensive end, kind of in the way that she was tonight?
Her ability to get to the free throw line, she almost took more free throws than us as a team. She's able to shoot the three, get to the lane. She's running a lot of initiating actions. And then defensively, she's just long and lengthy and able to switch up and alter shots, block shots, just be the 7-foot wingspan that she has. I'm able to utilize that to her ability.
Coach, I know it's one game at a time, but now the Storm's chances for playoffs also depend heavily on the result of other teams' games. Mm-hmm. And you play on Tuesdays, so there are a couple days they're going to have to just be waiting and waiting. What's going through your mind, and how do you help your players navigate those days and get to that Tuesday game, knowing that that's probably the game that's going to decide it?
Yeah, that's the sole focus, is when they win the Tuesday game and let the chips fall as they may. When we're in, and not have to rely on what happens with whatever team. So that was the focus today. We didn't do that. We have another opportunity on Tuesday, and that's what our energy is going to be focused toward.
Final question. Bella, go ahead.
You mentioned the inconsistency this season, and it's sort of been a conversation throughout the season. What are the keys to consistency, and are there any teams either this season historically that you think sort of embody the consistency that you need to see?
A lot goes into consistency. Your habits, your work, your preparation before getting onto the floor. Understanding moments in the game and how to conquer those moments. Attitude-wise, not being too high, too low, having mental fortitude in that capacity. There are a lot of things that go into play, not just schematically X's and O's. There are things that, as an individual, we have to conquer, and as a group, we have to conquer as well. So that's part of it. And, our team has changed from the beginning of the season until now. Part of that is finding some consistency with one another, minutes, reps, all of those things. So a lot of different iterations of ourselves this year. And just trying to, focus on, and when we do have good moments, have good games, just trying to mimic those. Sometimes even in the games, those possessions aren't being mimicked, like going back to the same thing that worked. We kind of deviate from those things. So just staying sharp and locked into those moments.
Thanks, Coach.